All right, so one of the first things that needs to happen, since we do have a campaign leader and some lieutenants, as I called them last time, so we do have to open up the campaign. We have to set that. In this case, Azazel is in charge, and it's not like an iron fist in charge. It's just if they want to help with this campaign, it's kind of like a gentleman or gentlewoman's agreement, right? It's, I mean, we're talking about energy at the end of the day, arguably personified. It depends really on your definition of what these spirits are. And I prescribe to a lot of different things because I see them in a lot of different ways. And of course, this plane is passing overhead. Right, so if we're going to start a campaign and we have a campaign leader, then we absolutely must open it first with this leader. I mean, that. Here's why I'm saying that. All right, so I have other things going on right now, other actions, avenues that are not related, at least as far as I'm concerned, but I don't honestly know, to what I'm about to do here, right? So these are different things, different incense offerings. About all I'm going to get into with that, but so we need to make like an official opening here. Now you will notice this actually, and this might throw some people off. It kind of threw me off a little bit too. This isn't a new candle. I literally burnt this candle for light for a ritual last night. The candle itself has not been charged, imbued, nothing like that. Literally burn it for light because it felt right for the ritual that I was doing. And it was a recorded ritual, so I was just literally going to use it for that from now on. There's a second one like that, but my Lord Azazel said that candle would suffice for this working. And I don't often, I'm not often told that. So I did want to bring it up. May have been noticed, may not, but that's where it's at. So that candle was burned for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. It's like a 10-hour candle. It's burned for 20 minutes. It has no dressing. It's not been charged. It has no imbuements or anything like that on it. But we're going to do that, and as part of the campaign, right? This red candle here will be the campaign candle. And I don't always have one, but it seems appropriate now to do so. So that's where that's just going to be. So what is the campaign candle? And the campaign candle is it's not going to burn the entire time through the campaign. It can. You could literally piggyback off that candle. Just take the last bit of whatever's in it, and then if you really want to, and you can or remake another one. I used to use that for defense. I had a running mixture that I would use to kind of empower a candle for more defensive purposes, and then I would use that mixture as a running mixture for the candles. Here we're just going to use this candle and let it burn as it will. It's a 10-hour candle, so I'm not going to burn it the entire time that I didn't burn it the entire time I'm selecting and things like that. But I can burn it with, as I feel I should, excuse me. And I can put it out and restart it. The purpose of this candle is going to be it's like an addition, right? It's an addition of energy. It's an addition of the things that it is dressed with, right? In this case, it's going to be dressed with blood. It's going to be dressed with this mixture here, which I got from Maman Brigitte. But when I was looking on over the different oils that I had, that's what came out, and so I got permission to use that for something non Maman Brigitte. So we're going to use it for this. It's going to go over this campaign candle. Now you notice some of these other, well, basically this other oil here. Hesperidia has closed their shop, so this is almost like gold to me, right? But it's pretty necessary, so we're just going to go ahead and use it while we got it. Different candles. I am somehow out of black candles, but since it's just dye and paraffin these days, for most of the candles that you can buy, it really doesn't matter to me. Aesthetically, it looks better with black candles and black work, right? But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So I know people will get upset with that, but practice more outside of your preferred genre, please. And you know, you may still feel that way, but it should be, in the end, it should be a preference and not a mandate, right? All right, let's move on, since I've probably already offended who knows how many people. But so we have this campaign candle. You'll notice I still have these other candles here, and these are individual candles for their individual works. The campaign candle is for everybody that contributes to the campaign, that makes it a little bit different. And so there is a bit of an order thing here. Now I can say, oh, this is for the campaign, but has the campaign actually opened yet? And the answer is no. The campaign is not opened yet. But I have my leader, and I have my 2 lieutenants. I'm still a little surprised about Bereth, but I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that. I mean, if you look at the qualifications of Bereth like this, Bereth is quite. He's a lot more. He's not ham-fisted, in my opinion, and in my experience. He's not quite as ham-fisted or as sudden and direct in that way. I mean, it's kind of like if you roll the dice, you go to jail. That's an immediate turn. Like in a Monopoly, that's an immediate turn. And you know, he's not that cop shaking his finger in your face because you rolled that. Bereth is, to me anyways, I can't speak for other people, but Bereth to me is he's more sophisticated than that in a way. He's more diplomatic, I think, in my opinion. It's not that the others can't be. It's just the way, I'll say, maybe the suddenness of the change, which does affect things. The abruptness of the change is of concern here, because if all right, say you cast a love spell, and say it hits really hard against somebody. If it hits too hard too fast, they're going to recoil a bit, right? It's going to be suspicious. It's not going to seem natural. It's opened up to a lot of complications later on, which is one of the reasons why I do love spells, because love spells themselves aren't typically bad, but the problem is the people that want them want change now, and if they didn't, then they would most likely say, oh hey, find the right person for me, instead of my bleeding heart, XYZ, whatever nonsense. So we don't want an abrupt all things must stop, because that's going to cause other issues that could easily just erupt into violence because people can't process it properly in the amount of time that they have, right? And I mean, it's kind of like trauma. We can process a lot of stuff, a lot of really gruesome stuff, but if it happens all at once, it's much more traumatic. And so it's kind of the same thing we're talking about here with Bereth. Bereth is about change, right? He absolutely is about change. I use him a lot. I trust him a lot. I'm trusting him in this position because of my previous workings with him. I mean, yeah, I would still put him in it, but I'm not uncomfortable with him being here because I have trusted him in the past, and it's worked out great. And that's true. I do need that type of transition here overall for the situation because an abrupt stop by all sides literally does not solve the problem, and so we want the problem solved. We don't want an abrupt stop just so people's emotions feel better when they go to sleep tonight. I mean, we want a lasting. The lack of a lasting issue here, the lack of a lasting solution, is why we're back in this position again. After an abrupt act of terrorism provoked this response, right? And that is the truth. I mean, people can argue this and that all day long, but that's kind of what kicked it off. And so we want a more lasting peace than, oh, let's just stop today, because that doesn't work, right? All right, enough of that. So Barrett is more about more elegant change than abrupt turns, but definitely change nonetheless, right? The current can slow as you go around a bend, but you're still going to go around the bend, right? All right, and Eligos, from what I've worked with him, he's really good at vantage points, and he's really good at sounding and helping to inform. And let's be honest, why would really advanced goetics need something like that? Well, the answer is because the really advanced goetics may not be the people actually doing some of the work, right? And so, if a CEO from whatever company says, yes, we will do that, is he going to be down there like packing those boxes? Hell no, he's not, or she's not. Doesn't matter who it is. The CEO, regardless of gender, is not going to be down there packing boxes, right? Be like, yes, get this done. Now, sometimes the goetics do physically, I guess that's not the right word, they do personally respond to things, and they make sure things are done themselves. They do have that ability. But when things are this widespread and this complex, I mean, they're going to use some of the help, right? And so that's partially why we need a sounding board to help with I don't want to say the hired help, because they may not be hired, right? Let's just be honest. So very appreciative of that. I think we've kind of beat the topic to death now. So now it's time to just energize these sigils, as I've talked about in the past. I do provide a little bit more of a description in this unreleased grimoire that I'm still working on. But thankfully, a friend of mine who's an editor is tearing apart mercilessly. She's wonderful, and thank you, my friend Alex. So, there we go. Usually, if you've spent time thinking and pondering and looking over these entities, they are more than ready to respond. It's not the same as evoking to physical appearance, but that's usually wasted, and it typically isn't even necessary outside of petty ego. What are they going to do if they come here and waste a whole bunch of energy doing so? Oh wait, the same shit they would do if they came here partially and you just did a petition. Nonsense. All right, you ready? Here we go. Let's reestablish. Here we go. My Lord Azazel, unexpected pleasure. I thank you for answering this call and coming to become the leader of this campaign. This campaign of violence, maybe not suppression, regression is not the right word, but something in between. Reduction is certainly needed, but on both sides, because we have antagonists on both sides that are feeding the flames, unnecessarily so, for their own purposes and not the greater good. I thank you for accepting this, and I open myself up to hear any suggestions that you have for this campaign. All right, so he's actually talking about this campaign candle right here so far, which means he largely agrees with everything else that I plan on saying and doing. Again, there are still some parts that I don't know and don't understand, but I don't necessarily have to kick things off. But with this campaign candle here, I work with a lot of different types of energies, and some of these energies I store. Some I store internally, some I store externally. And he was just saying to make sure that this was a neutral one, not one I had necessarily intended. It can partially be in there, but mostly neutral, for the greater good of these spirits that would be partaking of it, not necessarily the names on these cards, right? So that totally works for me. It also does kind of let us know that as I said, the big names in charge don't always personally do the work, and they shouldn't have to, right? Thank you, my Lord Azazel. All right. Usually you can say, if you've already thought about what your offerings are and what you're going to give them, you can just say, hey, is that enough? And then you can kind of gut check yourself, or you can use a pendulum if you want, but you can kind of gut check yourself to see, okay, that's enough or that isn't enough. And he was good with that. So I'm basically going to charge and blood this candle. He chose the candle. Like I said, I'm out of black, but I have an entirely new box of red here. I've got some other colors. Like I said, it's dyed paraffin, right? So there's no whatever. All right, so I've asked him, and I'll go to Bareth. Oh, that's the wrong candle color. Okay, I can do that. Maybe. Hold on. All right, so yeah, I can hear people saying, "Oh, if it's just a bunch of old wax, why does he care?" Well, sometimes they do care. I mean, it's like incense. Yeah, they can absorb some of it, but they just because somebody at an XYZ table, so that's what they like, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. It might be a starting point, but that's all it should be. Now, I typically use blue candles for Bareth. I have in the past, so this may have just been a fault on my part. That's always possible. Don't sweat it. It's no big deal. In the end, in this case, I'm going to be blooding and charging this candle, and I don't feel anything else that he feels it needs to come from him. I know Eligos would rather have a yellow candle in this case, but I don't have any yellow candles, and so he's kind of settled for blue. I mean, it's just like the incense. I give them choices, and they appreciate those choices. Not just goetics or supposed goetics, but just in general. And that can get you far, but more than willing, and a charged blooded candle is good enough. Now, I will say this. I'm not expecting to do any like super condensed candles. Like if I were to charge, well, hold on, let me do this first. All right, I have a mostly charged candle right here. Now, just in this few seconds, because I do it a lot and I'm pretty practiced at it. I don't suspect that I'm going to need a lot of super condensed candles. Like one of the campaigns I did recently, there were a lot of very condensed candles, and that was partially because there were entities doing like 3 and 4 different portions of the work I was asking, and that's really not going to be the case here. So yeah, so if you're going to do that and you want to say, oh, have I charged this candle enough, you need to if you're going to use blood, that's an additional thing, right? So they can say, oh, is this charging enough for the work? But if you don't keep blood in mind, and if you don't state it, then you're going to be charging it, and then blood's going to be on top of it. And overfeeding isn't a good word, but it is kind of appropriate. They'll let us know, right? Blood is much, much more valuable than just straight up standard energy. So now you notice we've not said anything about emotion because we don't really need it here. We don't need emotion for this. You could put it in to plead your case for something, but I'm not really asking them to necessarily agree with me. I said, this is what I want to do. Who wants to do it? And that kind of removes some of that. So you don't really need to do that if you've gone around it by just saying, this is what I'm going to do. Who's game, right? And then you don't need to use emotion. And most people don't. All right, so the emotion, anxiety, trauma connection isn't something we're going to get into here. But excessive use of emotion, especially for something like that, can be not healthy at times. So that's all I'm really going to say about that. Investigate that if you re-trauma or secondary trauma, not necessarily secondary trauma, but re-trauma or triggering is a good way of doing it. Yeah, you can get a tremendous amount of energies, but it's not healthy to you. And if I need to do rituals again, say later or tomorrow, but I'm exhausted because I've spent myself on something petty, then that doesn't really serve me, right? So we're not going to find that here, and that's why you're not finding that here. So when I talk about emotion, I guess I should say, energy. What do I mean? So, oh my God, that's another topic in itself. All right, so what I mean is I pull energy, ambient energy, from nearby. I don't pull it from like the trees in front of me, the sides of me, and behind me. I don't pull it from my ritual space items directly. I pull it from the street area over here, between these things. I'll pull it from where we want, and it's largely neutral, or I make it neutral, and then that becomes I don't want to say pure, but purer form of energy that they can consume and convert to whatever the purposes they want. And that's what goes into these candles, right? So now in this case, there is a very specific type of energy that I've been adding lately based on my Malshan stuff. So go. Right. I mean, if you're not Malshan, then I say practice Golden Light. Keep practicing Golden Light. There are different forms, so not much to be said here because that's kind of really outside of scope. So, all right, he's accepted that. Now, how do I know that? All right, so if I'm holding something like this in my hand, now this candle is neutral. This candle is for Bareth. I'm thinking about what I need Bareth to do right now, and I can think and then push those thoughts into this candle, and that kind of imprints the energy that's already here in this candle. And you could do the same thing with energy that you push into candles when you're collecting it. Like I just talked about the neutral energy, and now we've got a fairly full candle here, if you will, for standard charging. Not the super or anything like that, but you can do that. But it's full of energy that doesn't have an imprint. And in this case, we don't really want to do that because unless the entity says it, then we want to keep it neutral. But if I want to grab energy from something else, convert it, and then imprint it, what I would do is I would literally, you think about it like this. You think about this part of this candle like right here. Just this part of this candle. Nothing else matters, right? Just like this. And then focus on that, and then imprint, push that thought, visualization, words if you want to, combination if you want to, whatever works for you. Okay, cool. And then when you feel it change, it will feel different from here than it will right here. And then you can move it. And it seems tedious, but once you get used to it, you can do this whole thing like I just did there, and you're fine. But that's not what Barrett wanted, right? He was letting me demonstrate that, so just let me make sure here you can, kind of like running water, you can just pull your hands down here like this once you're used to working with energy, pull it out, and then it's just a neutral candle by and large, outside of where I'm touching it, because I'm an energetic being, right? So thank you, my Lord Barrett. And here I'll give him a little bit extra of a charge because he did do that. He doesn't necessarily need it, but I mean, most of these entities don't need it, let's be honest. But it's our way of kind of like paying and showing that we're serious for what we want. This isn't some petty whim, right? So now, my Lord Elagos. Here we go. And he's good. So you can see this oil is sitting here, and so what I'll do, if I'm trying to determine that, is I'll think about each of these entities in turn, and then I'll think, okay, what would you like on your candle? Oil, no oil, what do you want? Blood, no blood? Same thing, same thing. So that's why this Shining Veil oil is right here, Elagos, because he said, I know you have it. And I do. And he wanted it. So there we go. Now I will have to charge this candle here. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it on camera, because I don't know how much I have to give to it, right? I might have to condense it. This is for all of the entities, not just these three. So, but first these three, and then we'll worry about the rest of them. Now they're charged. All three will accept blood. It's fine with me. I don't mind. I don't want to waste it though. So, there we go. That's a good one. Dang. Lots out of this one tonight. I don't know if you can even see it. Oh, yeah, guess you can. There you go. There was a song called I Believe in Blood. Great song. Now I'm going to do these two first because they accepted this oil. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and do those. I'm going to wipe my hand off because different oil for that. If you have, like, usually if you stick here, let me fill you in. If you stick yourself on the sides here, right, of each, like I did here, it's on the side here, right, then you have a tendency to get more out. Don't hit your bone if you don't have to, because yeah, the bone will, yeah, you'll get a lot of blood out of it, but the bone's going to hurt for a bit, and then things have a tendency to become overreactive there from then on, because they, it's like, no, I'm putting my own opinion on it, but it's almost like, oh, we must protect the bone, so therefore, because sometimes when you get into like magical groups and things like that, and if you use a lot of blood like I do, you milk it out of these areas. You can either take an alcohol wipe if you want to wipe it off, and that'll kind of remove the scab even, and then you can milk it for more. But if you go really hard, you've got like 2 or 3 sticks on each side of these, each side of your fingers and thumbs, stuff like that on both hands, then you're going to kind of run out of spots, because they become really good at getting blood clots to those areas, right, to stop the bleeding. So you got to kind of keep that in mind when you do this stuff, that be mindful of how many times you just stick yourself where. Because unlike unlike ritual cuts, well, you probably can't see them, but I've got them all over my arms and stuff like that. Unlike ritual cuts, these things, you know, they heal pretty quick because they're on the finger pads and the hands, and they get stimulated more often because of that. So, all right, without further ado here, hail to you, my Lord Azazel. Now you might say, oh, you gave this blood to Azazel, and then I'm getting ready to come over here to Bereth. The candle is really the prize here. The blood is dessert, right? Oh shit, where's my... Oh, here it is. So, the candle itself is the cake, and the blood is the dessert, right? I mean, the only reason we're putting the oil on here is because we want to preserve the blood. Now, most demonolatry things, they'll just tell you a single drop of blood. And I give way more than that because it's me, and I expect to give way more than that. And that's just kind of how this goes. So, now this big candle is also going to be used. Oops, see this? I got some blood on there. Just going to take that off. It's also going to be using that oil. But to be respectful to Azazel and the two lieutenants administering these things, since I am asking quite a bit of them, I'm going to go ahead and blood different wound and dress that candle, and then I'll move on to this larger candle. So let's go ahead and do that. Go. Thank you, Ilgos. At first I was like wondering why this finger was just so sore. I forgot. I was doing a series of rituals last night, and I double pricked this finger. This finger, Jesus, this finger, and so I hit it twice with the lancet, and come on. Oh, there we go. I just got this thing working again. One of the pieces was lost, so I had to find it. There we go. Oh, there we go. So anyways, I'd hit that one twice on one side, and then another time over here, because I'd forgot about the first one by the time I got done with the second and third. And the kicker was that I really had no reason to forget about it. I just did. It's not like I was like, well, yeah, I'm super busy right now, and sleep's adjusted because getting ready to move 4,000 miles away, but no. Go. So you might ask how many drops, and that's going to kind of depend. Let me show you why here. Here we go. He's accepted this. Give me a minute, please. All right. It kind of depends. I mean, if you look at the differences in some of these droppers, it kind of makes sense then. Because if you look at the difference in the dropper here, I got to try to see it. Come on. I mean, very thin, very small, right? And then look at the dropper here, much bigger. Twice the size, at least. So I don't really have an answer, but I will say this. You only need like a couple of drops for the entire candle, because you're going to rub the candle all around the sides. You have to, so you can coat the blood. You can say, oh, you're eating some of your blood. Yes, I am. But again, like I said with demonolatry, you only give like a drop or two, or I mean, sometimes more for very specific things, but for something like this, I mean, this is a petition, and this is a petition that we do benefit from, but we benefit from less directly, and so I want these things to happen, so therefore I ask for them to happen, and because it's me or someone else, I choose to offer that as an incentive, right? And it's a powerful incentive. So, oh my God, 35 minutes. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and charge this. All right, there we go. Several different types of energy in there. So what I'm going to do with this, well, I've got the oil that I'm going to use. Now I can leave these to burn. Oh, leave these to burn. I can leave these to out in the air because I've oiled them, and then the blood's not going to flake off. So let me just go ahead and I've dedicated, I've charged. Now I'm going to bleed on this candle, and then once I put this oil on it, I will still do Azazel's first, actually, since he is the leader. And then I will I'll let the others off of this campaign candle, because Azazel, I'll be using Azazel's fire, if you will, to light it. And therefore it worked. Now that's to be honest with you, that's really, it's a romantic thing. It's not necessary at all. I could go over here with a lighter, light all this stuff, and they don't care. But it does. You can say it does add additional intent. It does add additional intent, but whether you think it's necessary is a different thing. Can it help? Yeah, it can help. But when I go and do candles for all these other entities, I'm going to ask them if they want it lit by themselves or if they want to lit with this. And I literally don't care which they want. It's up to them. And that does make a statement, which I may or may not show, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. It's not like this isn't the days of our lives of the occult. You can get that on other channels. So like you'll notice Hogenti and Zagan aren't here, and that's because they felt, with holding my intent in my head, they felt it was a little bit too much in some ways. With the ways that they would work, it was too much for them. So there's no drama there, right? There's no hard feelings. Good for them. I still have my idol. It's a wine bottle, water to wine, right? I have a 19 Crimes wine bottle down here that I still have an open portal to Zagan to in my daily life. So, no hard feelings there. None. I would rather know, because if I ask them, yeah, they'll do it. But I want to know who wants it, because they're the ones that are going to be, give me the Shazam wow thing, right? I wish I really had a better term than that, but it just didn't come out. Okay, so I've blooded this entire candle. I've already charged it with several different types of energies, one of which I have stored, which is why it was so fast. And now, the Mammon Brigitte oil. And I'm literally just going to turn it like this, like you see. I'll just turn it. Doesn't matter to me. The candle doesn't care. This is to preserve, mostly to preserve the blood that I'm offering them for as long as that oil is there. So there we go. Oh wait, no, not so much. Azazel's saying that he wants a little bit more oil, which I'm good with. Fine. I don't care. I mean, you're enacting my will, and I've already made this oil. Does it really matter that much that I use 6 drops or 20? No, it doesn't matter at all. to me. A couple more. Okay, we'll do that. Okay. More than enough now. Okay. Good. You know, as you can, well, I hope you can see. As you can see, my hands are tinged red. You know, from my blood, because they know they're going to get a fair offering from it, even with this rubbing the alcohol, not alcohol, the oil. Excuse me. I do have alcohol-based things over here. I just haven't used them here. All right, so let me go ahead and close that before something stupid happens, because I would be the one doing it. All right. All right, this one's pretty clean. The others are still a little bit dirty. That's fine. My Lord Azazel, thank you for watching over this campaign. Thank you for coming forth to do so. I appreciate that. And I ask and expect that this campaign will be managed by you at your request. Thank you, and please see it through. All right, you don't have to be like really eloquent or things like that. They're offering their services here, right? And that's good. I mean, Azazel and I do not have, you know, some pre-existing great relationship. As I said in the first video, we don't. It's not bad, nothing like that. We don't have the relationship. But he offered to lead this campaign, and I'm sure as hell going to take it up. So, thank you, Azazel, my lord. As the leader of this campaign, I have used your light to light this campaign candle, and I thank you. Now, so what now? All right, the campaign candle is lit. The leader's candle is lit. Yeah, it's a little loose here, but that seems to happen anymore these days when you buy them on Amazon. So what I'm going to do here, now I'm going to ask each one, and I can use my gut instinct, my feeling to do this, right? I can get an acceptance or a revulsion towards something if I just pay attention. And just kind of quiet myself down. My Lord Bareth. All right, my Lord, he wants it lit from a lighter. That's fine. My Lord Elagos. All right, he's good with this. Now that's going to go with these three. Once these are lit, I'm moving them off to the side into this catch pan, like I have here, like I've used in the past. That is where they're going to go, right? And then any of the other candles are either going to be lit off of this one, or they're going to have a preference as to how they want lit. And it's really not up to me to determine why, or oh my God, what does this mean? It doesn't matter. That's what they want. That's what I'm going to do. Hail Bareth. Still working in this group. Doesn't make anything. Doesn't mean anything. All right. I mean, if you're into occult drama and stuff, you can go ahead and do that. It's going to be the days of our lives. And you know what? It's not going to damn matter. Right? So, here we go. Way longer than I expected. Initial workings are done. The rest of these are probably just going to be cliff notes. But here we go. Campaign has been started. And now I have an obligation. Because of their acceptance, I have an obligation to kick the rest of this off. Now I can say, oh, hey, wait, never mind. But now I've got a whole slew of entities that have said, yes, I will do this. I have to follow through myself, right? It is an obligation for both parties. So, there we go.